Welcome to the Your Planning Assistant channel. Today, I'll introduce you to my 5-year financial dashboard template, a powerful tool designed especially for small or intermediate business owners to plan their business. Now imagine 5 years. That's 1,825 days. Most business owners can't tell you where their finances will be next week, let alone in 5 years. They run their business on gut feeling. And gut feeling is great for choosing a logo, but it is terrible for cash flow. This is what most people start with. A blank sheet. It's intimidating. It's confusing. And it's the reason most people give up on planning. But in the next 16 minutes, we are going to change that. I'm going to take you through a full financial workshop using my 5-year dashboard template. We will build a hypothetical business together, the Daily Grind Coffee Company, from the very first assumption to tracking our real-world profit. By the end of this video, you won't just have a spreadsheet. You'll have a roadmap. Grab a coffee, open the template, and let's get to work. Before we start typing in numbers, let's take a quick tour of the interface. This workbook is powerful, but it's actually structured very simply. Think of it as having 3 distinct zones. First, we have the setup zone. Instructions. This is your user manual. If you ever get stuck or forget how a calculation works, the answers are right here. Inputs and assumptions. This is the most important tab in the entire sheet. This is the control center. You will spend the first 20 minutes here setting up your business model, and then you barely have to touch it again. This drives all the calculations. Next is the output zone. These tabs display the results of your work. The dashboard. This is your visual report card. It takes all the hard numbers and turns them into charts so you can spot trends instantly. The plan. This tab shows your forecast. It's based entirely on the assumptions we make at the start. It's your perfect world scenario. The fact. This tab shows your reality. As you enter actual sales data month by month, this tab fills up to show your historical performance. Third, we have the data zone. This consists of income data, expenses data, and cash flow data. Think of these as your logbooks. Once your business is running, you will come here once a month to log your actual bank activity. The Fact tab and the dashboard read from these 3 tabs. Finally, the utilities. Loan payment calculator, a standalone tool to help you structure debt. Translations. If you prefer to work in Spanish, French, German, or any other language, you can rename every single label in the spreadsheet right here, and it updates globally. So that's the layout. Setup, output, data, and utilities. Now that we know our way around, let's go back to the Inputs tab and build the Daily Grind. We begin on the Inputs and Assumptions tab. Think of this as the control room. You never need to touch the formulas in the other tabs. Everything is controlled from here. Rule number 1. Only touch the white cells. Colored cells are doing the heavy lifting for you. Let's set up the Daily Grind. We are starting operations in 2025. I'm setting my currency to dollars, but if you're in Europe or the UK, just change this symbol here, and it updates the whole workbook. Now, let's talk money. Don't just guess a big number like, I want to make $1 million. We need to build that number from the ground up. I have 10 slots for products or services. Product 1. I'll rename this espresso bar. Units sold. This is the hard part. I'm estimating 20 customers an hour. 8 hours a day. That's roughly 50,000 units a year. Let's be conservative and put 45,000. Annual increase. This is vital. I plan to grow my customer base and price by 10% a year. The sheet will compound this for us. Average price. An average coffee is $4.50. Boom. The sheet calculates over $200,000 in revenue. But we aren't done. Product 2. Let's call this pastries and food. Units. People buy food with every second coffee. Let's say 20,000 units. Price. Average price $6. I'll fill in a few more placeholder products, effectively blanking them out if I don't need them. Now the painful part. Making that coffee isn't free. This is your COGS. Cost of goods sold. You can enter a percentage. For espresso bar, The beans, milk and other expenses cost me about 25% of the sales price. So I'll enter 25 in the margin column. For pastries, I buy them from a bakery, so the margin is tighter. I lose 50% to the supplier. I'll enter 50. Look at the gross margin column. This tells you how much money you actually keep from each sale before calculating profit. Great. Unfortunately, we haven't planned all the expenses yet. Now we move to the operating expenses in the plan sheet. These are your burn rate, the costs required just to keep the lights on, regardless of how many coffees you sell. For the daily grind, our biggest fixed cost is rent. We've negotiated a lease at $3,000 a month, so we'll enter $36,000 for the year. We write them down in other regular expenses line. Notice the annual inflation are automatically calculated for the next years. Most commercial leases have a rent bump. We have set the inflation rate to 3%, so the dashboard accounts for that increase in years 2 through 5. Next, sales and marketing. We need people to know we're open. I'm budgeting $6,000 for the first year. This covers our Instagram ads and our grand opening signage. Insurance. We're budgeting $2,400 a year to cover our general liability. This is non-negotiable for a public-facing shop. Next, payroll taxes. $12,000 here. Then, property taxes. Even if you don't own the building, many commercial leases pass a portion of the tax to the tenant. We'll put in $1,500. Don't overlook your utilities. Coffee shops are energy heavy. Between the espresso machines and the refrigeration, we're estimating $4,800 a year. And finally, administrative fees. This $1,200 covers our annual accounting software, bank fees, and the professional who helps us with our taxes at the end of the year. Recommendation. Look at the unexpected expenses row. I always recommend adding a buffer here. I'm putting in $2,000. In business, something always breaks or costs more than you thought. By putting it in the budget now, it won't be a crisis when it happens in month 6. Now we're getting into the hidden costs of doing business. First up, annual maintenance. I'm setting this to 5%. This tells the template to look at the value of my equipment, like those expensive espresso machines, and set aside 5% of their value every year for repairs. It's a safety net for your cash flow. Right below that is asset depreciation. Most equipment doesn't last forever. I'm entering 7 years. This won't affect our daily cash, but it's vital for your profit and loss statement, as it spreads the cost of your big purchases over their useful life. Next, the two things nobody likes, but everyone has to plan for: tax and inflation. I'll set my annual tax rate to 20%. The template will automatically calculate your tax bill based on your projected net income. For inflation, we already entered 3%. This is a global setting. It tells the template that, generally speaking, your expenses, from coffee beans to light bulbs, are going to get 3% more expensive every single year. If you leave this at 0%, your year 5 projections will be dangerously optimistic. To combat that inflation, we have the product price increase already set to 10%. Wait, this doesn't mean I'm raising prices every month. It means that once a year, I plan to adjust my menu prices by about 10% to stay ahead of rising costs and keep my margins healthy. Watch how the Get Plan tab updates when you change this. It's the fastest way to see how a small price hike impacts your long-term wealth. Finally, let's talk about funding. Most startups don't start with zero debt. Let's say, the Daily Grind took out a $50,000 small business loan. I'll enter an annual interest rate of 7% and a term of 60 months, which is a 5-year loan. The magic here is that you don't need to do any math. The template takes these 3 numbers and automatically builds a full amortization schedule, separating your principal and interest and plugging them into your cash flow and P&L statements exactly where they belong. Now, let's address a critical accounting step. Since the Daily Grind has borrowed $50,000 to get started, we need to ensure this is reflected correctly on our balance sheet. In the world of finance, your assets, what you own, must always equal your liabilities, what you owe, plus your equity. When that $50,000 hits our bank account, it shows up as an asset, specifically cash. Now that our assumptions are complete, our 5-year roadmap is fully generated. Let's go see what the plan looks like with these new numbers. Look at the profit and loss section. In year 1, we see our revenue minus our COGS and expenses. It looks like the daily grind is making us some profit in year 1. That's great. But look at year 5. Because we added that 10% growth rate in the inputs, our profit effectively triples by 2029. This helps you show investors the potential of your business. But wait. Profit is not cash. Scroll down to cash flow. This shows the actual money moving in and out. This includes things that aren't on the P&L, like loan principal repayments. If this bottom line ever goes negative, it means you're bankrupt, even if you're profitable on paper. Use this section to make sure you have enough cash in the bank to survive the slow months. Okay, the planning phase is over. Now, imagine it's June 2025. The daily grind has been open for half a year. Your plan was just a guess. Now we need to track reality. For this, we use the 3 data tabs: income, expenses, and cash flow. Click on income data. This looks like a giant database, and that's exactly what it is. You see columns separated for year, month, and product. Let's look at January 2025. Our plan said we'd sell $16,000 in coffee. But it was a slow month. I'm going to enter the actual number for my cash register. $12,450. Pastries? They actually did better than expected. $6,380. You will do this once a month. It takes 5 minutes. You just grab the report from your point of sale system and plug in the totals. I will put the rest of the data to fill in first 6-month income. Productivity hack. You can quickly hide filled months by licking this minus sign next to the name of the month. Now, the expenses data tab. I checked my bank statement and entered the real data for January. Rent was exactly $2,500. And yes, my espresso machine broke in January. That wasn't in the plan. I'll find the row for maintenance and enter a scary number. $1,500. This is going to hurt our profitability for the month, but we need to record it to see the truth. I'm going to quickly fill in dummy data for February to June so you can see how the trends look. Now for the moment of truth. We've built the plan and we've entered our real-world data. Now, let's see what the dashboard tells us. One of the most powerful features here is the ability to instantly travel through time. Using this date selector in the corner, you can quickly represent any specific month of your 5-year journey to see how you performed. Let's look at January 2025. The entire screen updates instantly. Focus your eyes on the top row of KPI indicators. Notice that each bar has 2 shades. The lighter color represents what we plan to happen, and the solid color is what actually happened. In January, we can see that our total income was a bit soft. We reached only 81% of our planned income. But look at the next indicator. Expenses. It has turned pink. This is an automatic warning signal telling us that we had 72% more expenses than we planned. Now, why did that happen? If you remember back to our data entry, the coffee machine broke in January and we had to mend it for $1,500. There it is, plain as day. Because of that surprise repair, our other KPIs like net profit suffered. We hit only 9% of our profit goal for the month. But business is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's look at June 2025. What a difference! Here you see a vibrant green color for income. This means we didn't just meet our goal. We beat it. We made 9% more income than we originally planned. Great work! In the middle section, you get a clear visual of how your main expense categories compare to your actual income and your original income plan. Just to the right, you'll find a minimized profit and loss statement. I've designed this to show only the most relevant positions and critical company health KPIs, so you aren't overwhelmed by a wall of numbers. Remember, everything we see right now is for that one selected month. But what if you want to see your progress for the whole year so far? Just choose Up to Date in the selector. Voila! The data accumulates instantly to show your year-to-date health. One click, and you have the data you need to make informed decisions. At the bottom, we dig even deeper. Here, you can see the main parameters of your cash flow to ensure you stay liquid. You'll also see your top income positions, which identifies your best-selling products and your top expense positions, so you know exactly what is eating the largest pie of your income. Finally, we look at indicators from your balance sheet and a chart that ranks your most and least profitable product categories. This is where you find the hidden insights. Look at this. Private events are actually more profitable for us than pastries and food. Even though pastries brought in more total dollars, we also had much higher proportional expenses for them. And look at the bottom of the list. Whole bean bags are currently our most unprofitable item. This dashboard is giving you a clear business directive. It might be time to raise the price on those bean bags or find a cheaper supplier. This is the power of the 5-year dashboard. It doesn't just track your past, it helps you fix your future. This dashboard allows you to answer the big questions to make better business decisions. Are we growing? Are we sticking to the budget? Do we have enough cash for next month? If you see a lot of red on this dashboard, you know you need to either raise prices or cut costs immediately. You don't have to wait until the end of the year to find out you lost money. There are a few extra tools in here, like a loan calculator to see how different interest rates affect your payments, and a translations tab if you want to present this to partners in a different language. Business isn't about hoping for the best. It's about planning for the worst and tracking the progress. This highly rated template gives you the structure to do that. Download the file, take an hour this weekend to fill out your inputs, and see what your future looks like. Thanks for watching, and good luck with the daily grind, or whatever dream you're building. Of course, don't forget to subscribe if you liked this tutorial.